day of the week. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What you waiting for? Come and take a seat. Like and subscribe, this is where you wanna be. Cause you know we gon' talk about it. Let's talk about it. Get in here, we in here tonight. So get in here, we in here to vibe.
Hey, y'all. Come on up in here, y'all. How's it going? Blue hearts in the chat. If you can hear your girl. Blue hearts in the chat. Hold on one second. Oh, did I not do it? I thought I did. Blue hearts in the chat if you can hear me. I see some blue hearts. She said, and we're back. And we are back, y'all. Listen, I know some of y'all are, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me take care of this right quick. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I had to take care of this right quick. Anyway, listen, I know most people are across the street and they are getting the read of the night from Miss Ashley. But baby, we just gonna do a recap. Raise your hand if you watched today the toxicology expert for the defense, y'all. Raise your hand if you watched them go back and forth with the prosecutor while the prosecutor was trying to twist their arm, twist their whole elbow off, trying to get them to say what it is that they wanted her to say, and she would not say it. Y'all seen it? 1, 2, 3 people. Three people seen it. 4. J. Lou said she saw it too. Listen, boy, she was mad, wasn't she? Was the prosecutor mad or no? She was mad as hell. Y'all, what's she mad for though? She was mad because if she cannot get, you have to understand, if she cannot get the jury convinced that the only way, the absolutely only way that Jay died was from drinking cocaine, then she knows she can't convict. She said she was so mad. She was so mad. She said, ooh, she was angry. She's like, you heard, you were here to, but did you hear the judge? Come on, you can answer the question. You can ask the questions in a more reasonable way. Now, you know, if that was the black judge, nah, come on, let's just keep it a buck here. If that was the black judge, not the black judge, but the black, if that was the defense attorney saying that and raised her voice at one of the witnesses, what do you think the judge would have said? She says, no, but I'm ready to hear it. You didn't hear it yet? Girl, you didn't watch my video? Girl, I got it on video, y'all. I got it on video. First, I'm going to drop the link so y'all can give me the view and a thumbs up on it. And then we're going to play it, okay? Then we're going to play it. We just going to play that part, though. She said, I thought she was going to run up on that lady. Kivo, you thought she was going to run up? She was going to run up on that lady. That lady said, you don't have to raise your voice at me. That lady is a whole doctor. She knows what she knows, right? She was telling her, she said, yelling at that woman. Thank you, Cheryl, so much, y'all. I don't have a goal up, but if you guys want to bless me on this last day of June, I know it's the last day. I know we got bills due and all type of shit. So, you know, I don't want to, I don't want to beg. So I'm just going to say, if you have it in you, you could bless me. But if not, don't worry about it, child. We on the final hour, honey. We are on the final hour. So you think the judge, oh, thank you so much, Cheryl. I do appreciate that, love. Do you think the judge would have put the black lady in contempt? Probably had her locked up, taken out 30 days, all type of shit. You hear me? She said the witness was so calm. And was she? She's like, you don't have to talk to me that way. You don't have to raise your voice at me. But we're going to listen to it, y'all. We're going to listen to it, honey. It is 15 minutes long. It's 15 minutes long. And I took the little loud noise out in the back. Who watched my video? Who watched my video and know that I took the noise out in the back, y'all? I took the noise out in the back. She said the judge is so biased, and he is. And there's other people on other channels that's talking about it as well. Talking about how rude he is, how much of an asshole he is, and how biased he is. She said she was rude. That lady got with her. She sure did. She sure did. She said, you're not going to try to convince me. You're not going to tell me. She's the professional. How you just going to make somebody say that it came from liquid cocaine? You can't make somebody say that, right? But anyway, we're going to listen to it, y'all. We're going to listen to it. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it to stop spinning. Hold on. Come on now. Okay, here we go. Yeah, she wanted that lady to say what she wanted her to say. Hold on. Even if I show you, I know there's only 39 people in here, but even if I show y'all this video, can you please go back and watch the video if you have not already? It's only 18 minutes long, just to give me the view. Okay. All right, but we're going to listen to it, y'all, and we're going to talk about it. This was today's. So today didn't go too well for the prosecutor, in my opinion. However, I think they still think they got some grounds, but she needed this one. The state really, really needed this doctor to say that it was liquid cocaine, okay? That the only way that she was able to ingest it was from liquid cocaine. She needed her to say that so bad, and she did not, okay? All right, so let's take a listen to it.
Several things in this case. Reviewed several things in this case file, correct?
No, I reviewed several things in the case file.
That's what I just said.
Oh, let's go back. Well, how funny. First, they are watching who looks more credible. Y'all take a listen to this.
Dr. Lindsay, so you claim that you've reviewed several things in this case file, correct?
No, I reviewed several things in the case file.
That's what I just said.
I think you said I claimed to
You
review.
claimed to. I'm saying you said that you reviewed the toxicology reports, the detective investigation. You said
Yes.
that
So the prosecutor said you claimed you reviewed everything in this case file. The doctor snaps back and said, I reviewed, meaning, no, I didn't claim it. That's exactly what the hell I did. And the prosecutor like, that's what I just said. No, that's not what you said. You said you claim you viewed. Okay. So you can already tell that the doctor has already been listening and watching the prosecutor. So she already knows her demeanor. She knows how bad she's trying to win this case. And she also see the judge being extra nice toward Miss Prosecutor lady, while he's being very mean to, he got more aggressive toward the defense today. Okay. All right, here we go.
That's
I guess the
correct.
reports.
Yes.
Have you been watching all the testimony this week?
I've been watching most of the testimony. I tried to watch most of it. Yes.
Okay. And you reviewed the bond hearing transcript, correct?
That's correct.
And the Pandora records and the medical examiner record. records, correct?
That's correct.
And so you heard Dr. Carney's testimony before this jury, is that right?
That's correct.
And you heard Dr. Kowalewski's testimony before this jury, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And you also heard Dr. Midthen's testimony before this jury, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you were talking about the methamphetamine and the marijuana that came up in the assay test on the comforter. That's what you started out talking about. Do you remember that?
I remember it was mentioned, but that was one of the side tests that were done, or one of the results that came up, but it wasn't validated.
Correct. It wasn't validated because they can have false positives, correct?
I believe it wasn't valid. Well, yes, because of the iron ratios, they weren't correct.
And that's what Dr. Midthen testified to, is that it could be a false positive. It did not mean anything if she just noted it, correct?
That's correct.
And you would not report out something that is that low level, correct?
So there was a difference between the ion ratios being off and it being a low level. I don't believe she said that they didn't report it because of the low level. I can go back and check the testimony, or you can put it
It
up.
was the ion ratios wrong. It was something that she couldn't report, correct?
Right, and they didn't run it again to see, because I think they were concentrating on the cocaine and the fentanyl. So
This is Dr. Lindsay. She is a toxicology. So some of the words that she used, we probably never heard of before, but she knows what the hell she's talking about. And the state attorney doesn't like it at all because she can't twist her into saying what it is that she wants her to say.
yeah, they only ran it that one time.
You would agree that Ms. Benning had multiple tests run and none of them tested positive for methamphetamine, correct?
Oh, correct, yes.
Okay, and none of them tested positive for marijuana either, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and also when she got to the hospital, she did not have alcohol in her system. That came back negative, correct?
No, you can't say that because the reporting threshold is 10 nanograms per mil. So as I discussed earlier, anything below that 10 nanograms per mil will be reported as a negative.
Okay, but
So we can only say that it was reported as a negative, that it was either negative or less than 10 nanograms per mil.
okay, so if the cocaine was dissolved in a very small amount of alcohol and put in her drink and she ingested it that way,
Yes.
that would explain the cocaine that is apparently so incredibly important.
It would have to be a larger amount of ethanol, not just a little bit, in order to come up in the assays. So we're not talking like a teaspoon. I think somebody had said something crazy like vanilla before.
Well, you just said somebody said something crazy. That's interesting because you're saying that it came up in the comforter, the cocoethylene, correct?
In the vomitus, yes.
Okay, but Dr. Midthen's report specifically does not even have a numeric value. The response was so low.
Yet it's still persisting in other matrices a couple days later, so it just hadn't formed all the way, probably.
It literally does not have a numeric value.
She already getting mad. You could definitely tell the prosecutor was a spoiled ass brat coming up, whether she was an only child or, she just ran over her parents. But she's already whining. Can you tell she's whining?
That is how low it is.
Okay, but it's still persisting in other matrices days later, so we know that it was at a higher value then, even given its half-life.
Days later, when she's in the hospital receiving medication after medication after medication, trying to keep her alive on life support because she ingested liquid cocaine.
I don't know that.
Dr. Lindsay, you have heard
Excuse
three
me.
experts
You don't need to raise your voice.
testify.
Okay, have a seat, Ms. Collins. Just ask your question in
He gonna tell the defense to have a seat. Did you see that? When the defense just tried to stand up and object to her yelling, the judge tells the defense to have a seat. Have a seat, and then gonna look at the prosecutor and say, ask your question in a more reasonable manner. But he gonna tell the defense to have a seat. Did y'all hear that? Listen, y'all.
To raise your voice.
Testify.
a, okay, have a seat.
That it was at a higher value then, even given its half-life.
Days later, when she's in the hospital receiving medication after medication after medication, trying to keep her alive on life support because she ingested liquid cocaine.
I don't know that.
Dr. Lindsay, you have heard
Excuse
three
me.
experts
You don't need to raise your voice.
testify.
Okay, have a seat, Ms. Collins. Just ask your question in a reasonable manner.
Dr. Lindsay, you have heard.
Ask your question in a reasonable manner. You see how he's so calm with her? Is that his daughter, y'all? Is that his granddaughter? Is that his next door neighbor? Like, what the hell is going on?
Have a seat, Ms. Collins. Just ask your question in a reasonable manner.
Dr. Lindsay, you have heard three experts testify that it was ingested and it had to be a liquid. It was in her drink.
Are you testifying? Because there's nothing.
Please don't interject yourself. Just keep yourself calm as well.
So when when the doctor comes back and say, "Are you testifying? Because are you trying to do my job? Or are you doing your job?" Then he looks over at the witness and gets mad at the witness for basically saying, "Are you telling me what, are you the expert here or am I?" You know what I'm saying? He is just so biased toward this damn lawyer.
Are you testifying? Because there's nothing.
Please don't interject yourself. Just keep yourself calm as well. You don't ask questions, okay?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
There is nothing.
Now, what is your question? You said three experts said X. What is your question?
You've heard the three experts testify that it was ingested orally, correct?
I've heard them testify that it could have been ingested orally.
Have you heard them testify that there was no evidence that it was ingested in any other manner?
No, I haven't.
You haven't heard that testimony.
I have not. If you point it out, I would be happy to look at it.
Okay, so you didn't hear Dr. Carney's testimony when she described her autopsy.
That wouldn't show you whether it was ingested orally or by any other manner.
Okay, and
See, she doesn't have them saying that, and that's why she wasn't able to show it to her. She don't have it. She just said that shit. And the doctor is telling her, a person that performs autopsy wouldn't even know what it is that you're saying right now. They wouldn't even have knowledge of that. There's in the medical field, they have different specialties. She's a toxicologist. She deals with these drugs and all these medications and shit like that. The other person is an autopsy person. They do autopsy. That's something totally different. You know what I'm saying? So Miss Blondie is getting mad because she wants the doctor, again, to agree with the other doctors, even though the other doctors didn't even say exactly what it is that she's trying to say. But the prosecutor wants her version to fit so bad, so bad.
Dr. Lindsay, you went on.
That wouldn't show you whether it was ingested orally or by any other manner.
Okay, and Dr. Lindsay, you went on and on about pharmacokinetics and calculating a dose. Did you provide your calculations?
Did I provide my calculations? No, but anybody can do them. If it's a half-life of 3 half-lives in between the first and the second dose, you would be up to billions of milligrams.
Okay, so you don't have any math that supports that at all for pharmacokinetics.
I did it at one time, but it was so off the chart, I knew that it was incorrect.
Oh, so you knew that you were incorrect.
No, I knew that the pharmacokinetics did not make sense.
The prosecutor gonna say, oh, so you knew that you was incorrect. Oh my God. She says, no, I knew that the numbers were incorrect.
So anybody can take, the other experts didn't do the same calculations, and they could have, or they should have. They would have seen right away that it was not possible.
Well, you're saying it's not possible because you're refusing to acknowledge that it was ingested in liquid form, correct?
No, I'm not. I'm saying we don't know. It could have been ingested in liquid form, or it could have been used in another form. We just don't know.
Well, that's what you're saying, that you just don't know. But Dr. Carney was very positive when she did her autopsy report.
That wouldn't have shown, an autopsy report would not show whether someone had ingested it orally or ingested it through insufflation or injection. An autopsy would not show that.
Dr. Lindsay, are you a forensic pathologist?
Blondie is getting mad. Blondie literally when I tell you, she's like, when the doctor pushed back and said it would not show that. An autopsy will not show that. It would not show whether it was liquid or if it was ingested, through, another way. It would not show that. So Blondie comes back and say, are you, or whatever the hell she just asked her, are you a pathologist or whatever? She is so damn mad. She wants to definitely just throw this doctor, the defense toxicology expert, she wants to throw her out on her head is what she wants to do.
Or injection. An autopsy would not show that.
Dr. Lindsay, are you a forensic pathologist?
No, I'm not a forensic pathologist, but I'm a toxicologist, and it would not show that. If you want to describe how it would show that, maybe that could enlighten me.
Dr. Lindsay, I am asking you the question.
Okay, and I'm
Have you
correcting
ever
you.
performed an autopsy?
No.
Okay. Did you hear Dr. Krolewski's testimony where he said that he would not even attempt to calculate using pharmacokinetics to try to calculate the dose?
He doesn't do that regularly in his practice. He's more of an analytical chemist. It was clear by the way he answered the questions, and that's why he wouldn't do the pharmacokinetic calculations. That's more of a biochemistry type thing.
Dr. Lindsay, that was not Dr. Krolewski's answer. You do know that, correct?
I listened to his testimony, and that's how I knew he didn't do that. He didn't do it on a regular basis. He's more of an analytical chemist, toxicologist, than a strict toxicologist who does pharmacokinetic modeling. I think he was open about that.
She can't stand. She mad as fuck. Oh, Blondie is mad as hell. Oh, she ain't saying what she want to hear.
Okay. Dr. Lindsay, I know that you do. So you're saying that you reviewed everything in the investigation file and the testimony at the bond hearing, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But you are here testifying that you think it's possible that Jake Benning was drinking 4 drinks out and doing cocaine. How was she doing it again?
We don't know.
Okay, but what did you use for your pharmacokinetics calculation?
So that's a little bit different. What I'm saying is we don't know whether she ingested it orally or whether through insufflation or whether injection. We just don't know because the numbers don't tell us. And the only reliable numbers we have are from a tube that did not have preservative in it. So while a ratio in a proper tube might give us an idea of whether it was orally ingested instead of insufflated, we didn't have that because we have the tube that didn't have the proper preservative in it.
Okay, so I'm My question is, for the pharmacokinetics that you testified about, I think at one point you said 16 to 8 balls. What was the ingestion method that you used for that pharmacokinetics calculation?
So I did assume an oral bioavailability for that. Oh, gosh, should have been using that before.
So you assumed liquid cocaine.
Cocaine taken orally.
Dissolved in a liquid.
It doesn't have to be dissolved in a liquid. It's the same thing if you take it orally or food, liquid, whatever. It's going through the metabolism that way instead of going through insufflation or vaginal insertion or whatever.
So you said that, and then immediately afterwards you said, but you can't calculate the pharmacokinetics with this case.
Correct.
So you calculated it, and then you said you cannot calculate it in this case.
Yeah, so the history is that when I tried to apply proper pharmacokinetics to this case, it didn't work. And so then I went into researching, because it wasn't plausible, then I went into researching, well, why could that be? And then
I like the way she is looking over at the jury like, I'm telling y'all what it is. This is my expertise, right? She's looking at the jury while talking.
there are a couple articles that I provided, the literature here. The best one is Chang et al., who goes into the pharmacokinetics of cocaine and fentanyl taken together and how they both inhibit each other's clearance. What does that mean practically? They both inhibit each other's half-life or clearance. So we don't know how much.
Dr. Lindsay, you're going on and on about cocaine and fentanyl. Those aren't the facts of this case. Dr. Lindsay, you do agree that on the internet there is information about liquid cocaine. Do you agree with that?
Yes, can we clear up the last statement?
Do you want to start arguing with her?
No, she just made a factually incorrect
if your
statement.
lawyers, they want to ask you, they'll ask you. Go ahead. What is your literature about liquid cocaine?
It's on the internet, correct?
So the doctor asked to clear up the last statement that the lawyer, the state attorney, was able to sneak in there. Of course, the judge don't want her to clear it up. He's telling her just go on basically to answer the question in which the state attorney just asked her,
With her?
No, she just made a factually incorrect
if your
statement.
lawyers, they want to ask you, they'll ask you.
She said she just made a factually incorrect statement, right? And he's like, oh, if they want to ask you a question, they'll ask you,
With her?
No, she just made a factually.
And then he said, you want to argue with her? You hear how the judge automatically is blaming everybody but Blondie? You want to argue with her?
Information about liquid cocaine. Do you agree with that?
Yes, can we clear up the last statement?
Do you want to start arguing with her?
No, she just made a factually incorrect
if your
statement.
lawyers, they want to ask you, they'll ask you. Go ahead. What is your literature about liquid cocaine?
It's on the internet, correct? There's rehab facilities that have internet pages. When you go to it, it says do not ingest it this way because it is lethal and it will kill you. You have seen that, correct?
Yes, if you orally use cocaine, you can overdo the amount because the bioavailability is less and it takes longer to absorb.
And it is known to cause death. It is lethal, correct?
No, lots of people use cocaine that way. I mean, it's not preferable. You kind of waste part of the drug, but apparently the high is supposed to be better. The problem is the fentanyl along with the cocaine, which lowers the threshold dose of toxicity.
Okay, so if a website says that it increases the risk of sudden death, you're just saying not really, even though...
I'm saying it doesn't cause death in all cases.
But it can cause death, and there is information on the internet that warns people about that. Don't you agree?
Okay, I'll rule the judge. She's going to answer, I think.
Yes, of course it can cause death. It depends on the amount.
And
He's just overruling the objection, meaning that he did not go with the defense. He's allowing the Blondie to ask whatever the hell she want to ask, say whatever she want to say, respond however she want to respond.
You would agree too that there is a lot of information on the internet about cocaine and that it can cause a placental abruption or a spontaneous abortion if used when pregnant, correct?
Cocaine can cause myocardial infarctions, including things like placental abruptions. Yes, it can.
I mean, this is the U.S. Department of Justice, 1988. Cocaine use in pregnancy can lead to spontaneous abortion of the fetus.
Yes, it can also lead to birth of those babies, which everybody knows about, the crack babies, the cocaine babies that are adopted, thankfully.
Thank you, Dr. Lindsay.
So, you know, she was able to get her to say that the liquid cocaine can cause an abortion or the death of a baby. But as you heard the doctor say, well, yeah, it could, but basically the baby can survive as well. And that's how you get the crack babies and things of that nature. You know, that's what she was saying toward the end. And that's when Blondie said, thank you, Dr. Lindsay.
Yes, it can also lead to birth of those babies, which everybody knows about, the crack babies, the cocaine babies that are adopted, thankfully.
Thank you, Dr. Lindsay.
So we just heard that, right? So this clip. Okay, so if you want to hear what I had to say, you got to go watch the video. But listen, so right there, they had their little spar back and forth. You could definitely tell that Blondie got mad. The judge was definitely on her side. You know, that's some of the things that came out today in the hearing. We'll listen to a little bit more of what came out. What was the most turning point for you that came out today in the trial for those that watched it? Candy Girl said, hey, Loud Talkers, it's $2 Tuesday. Is it? Oh, you know what? I ain't even, today is $2 Tuesday. Candy, I don't know where I'm at. Today, Tuesday. Girl, all damn day been Tuesday, huh? She said, I need 10 Loud Talkers to send or more a $2 super chat. Let's support this live. Who's next? I'll start it off. Thank you so much, Candy Girl. Appreciate you. Listen, I forgot today was $2 Tuesday. Thank you so much. Thank you, that MF. Appreciate you. She said, the judge know the DA is not looking good right now, and he is trying his best to help her. I think so too, Georgiana. He's definitely has connections with her. Wait a minute. He definitely has connection with that attorney because he's being too nice to her. Yes, biased as hell. Now, she is the state attorney, which means that he probably sees her a lot. She probably, is in his not chamber, but in his courtroom, doing other cases. However, you could definitely tell that he has a liking for her. Okay, she said, I do finally have to agree that he is trying to throw her a bone. Exactly, J. Lou. I'm glad you finally see it, girl. I don't know what in the hell. This judge has been rude from the first day we start watching this, girl. She said, yep, and the black lady is from a different state. Exactly. He definitely do not like the defense. None of them. Not just the black attorney. He don't like none of them. You hear me? Absolutely none of them. The jury deliberations early tomorrow. I am so nervous, y'all. Well, I'm going to make sure I get some good sleep tonight so I can come up and we'll do a verdict watch together, all right? We'll do a verdict watch together, all right? Tomorrow is the first and we'll do a verdict watch. She said, here's my $2. Thank you so much. She said he has a rapport with Blondie. Girl, I think he got a liking to her. He has a liking to her. You hear me? I believe he does have a liking to her. So I don't know, but it's 7 days in and they're still going. And this just makes me think about the Carmelo Anthony case that they wrapped up all together from jury selection on in 9 days. 9 days. They wrapped it all up in 9 days. So they're 7 days in and we should be expecting a verdict. The judge already said he want this thing over with by the end of the week, y'all. I will say, I got on this part today. I will say, I do think that that it was looking kind of shaky today. I still think that they don't have anything that pinpoint him to it. I think she was really, really trying to dig today. And if she was able to get that doctor to say it had to be in liquid form, because this doctor right here that I'm about to put up, the state got her to say is that it had to be quick. So meaning that the only, it had to be him because, her ingestion it had to be, her becoming unconscious and things happened to her. Her reaction was soon after ingesting it. So he's trying to say that he had to have done it because, he was the only one there. But you really can't say that because the friend and her friend was there, right? She had two more people there. If she didn't have nobody else over to the house prior to this incident, then it may look like, yeah, he did it, right? But the fact that she had two other people over there, right? And then they came in and they didn't find no glass, no cup, no fork, spoon, nothing test positive for drugs except for the blanket itself. Girl, that tells me, what does it tell y'all? The fact that nothing tests positive for drugs except for her comforter. That tells me that it was already in her. It was in her and it came out of her. It was in her, y'all. And however it entered her, listen, we don't know how it entered her. We don't know if she got high earlier that day. We don't know what happened. And neither does the state, okay? Because nowhere else in her apartment tested positive for cocaine, okay? She said if she drank it, she should have tasted it. And that's what they were saying as well. She should have tasted. So we're going to listen to this one, y'all, right quick. Who's all listened to this one already? Let me know. Who listened to this doctor? She said, it tells me she took them before he came over. That's what I'm thinking. Did you see the end when the doctor for the DA got tripped up? That was so obvious. I was laughing while working. Wait a minute. Which one? The doctor for the DA? Which one are you talking? Let me know. So you talking about this one right here? Georgiana? Which doctor for the DA? She said, who is this doctor? This doctor right here is, I'll find out in a minute. She said, I don't know if she would have taken some drugs while she was pregnant on her own, though, because she wanted the baby. But you heard what that doctor said. Well, I don't know if it was a doctor, but it was, I can't remember who it was. But that person that said yesterday, when a person is addicted and they have an addiction and they really, really want it, they would do things that they know is wrong and they would still do it. And even while pregnant, if they really, really want it, because, they're trying to say she's addicted to drugs. So if she really, really want it, she'll do it. She would definitely do it. She said they're banking on the friend's statement as to what she allegedly said before she died. That's all they have. He better be free. Girl, you hear me? Thank y'all so much for the $2 super chats. I do appreciate y'all. She said, Amora, have they entertained the idea of suicide? Maybe. I think they tried to say it, but the state kind of already have her, really, really happy about having the baby. So that's what she's saying. Why would she kill herself when she was so excited and so happy about having that baby? So, I don't think that it was really suicide. I think that she was just trying to get a feel good. And I think that either her drug guy laced the drugs wrong or she took too goddamn much, in my opinion. I believe what do you call it? Not induced, but she consumed too much. However you snort it, smoke it, smell it, sniff it, whatever the case, she did too much, But let's listen to this one right here, you guys. We're about to find out who she is in a minute because I don't know who she is.
Good afternoon, Dr. Carney.
Okay, so this is a doctor, and Georgiana said no, this one. Oh, so this one right here got tripped up at the end. Okay, let's listen. So is this the DA's doctor? Okay, let's listen. I thought the DA already done called their damn people. All right, hold on. Let me take this banner off right quick. Thank you, ladies, for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon.
Oh, they
You were not able to hear the prior testimony of Dr. Lindsay and Dr. Larkin, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so this is this DA attorney, the DA doctor. They called her back and they just asked her, did she get a chance to listen to Dr. Lindsay and Dr. Kearney or some other doctor testimony? She all smiles. Look at her. She want to put that black boy in jail too. Okay, anyway, let's go.
There was some testimony that was specific to fentanyl and whether Ms. Benning might have died from a cocaine and fentanyl overdose, which your autopsy result is that the cause of death was acute cocaine toxicity. Can you describe what, if any evidence did you have of fentanyl in this Benning system prior to her admission at the ED?
I don't have any evidence that she had fentanyl in her system prior to arriving at the emergency department.
And was there specific testing of the urine sample from 2259 that was tested specifically for fentanyl?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was negative, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then that first blood that was taken at 2231, there was no fentanyl detected, but the specific drug of fentanyl was not part of that test. Can you describe what was tested and kind of what results were not present that give an indication that there was also no fentanyl in her blood?
Well, when this commonly happens when we have someone who we believe has taken too much of a substance. They go to the hospital, they are unresponsive, and some testing is done on the urine to try to help direct the blood testing. In this case, we have an initial urine sample that is positive for cocaine and metabolites, no other drugs, no fentanyl. So when I have this limited amount of blood to work with, less than 2 milliliters, I really want to direct the testing so I can catch anything that's there, maybe that wasn't tested for already. In discussion with the toxicologist at Vanderbilt who had followed her for days and been trying to figure out what drugs might be in her system, we decided on testing for cocaine and metabolites since it was positive for cocaine initially and metabolites, and I wanted to catch the ethylene methyl ester with it, knowing that the cocaine could break down. I tested for designer opioids. So these are the fentanyls that have the added chemical groups. So you can see it here on the list, there's furanol fentanyl and acryl fentanyl and all of these designer fentanyls, and all of those were negative. As well as one of the things that's been mentioned previously in this case, the 4-ANPP, which can be a precursor to fentanyl, could also be a metabolite, that was also negative. And the testing reporting limit was very low to try to catch anything that was there. It was negative. And then I think that was the bulk of my testing on that. And then we did the additional testing on the fetal liver tissue.
And the testing on the fetal liver tissue, you've testified about that before, but was there any fentanyl associated with that?
No.
And that's even after treatment in the hospital, correct?
Correct.
And the levels of the subsequent test, which you referenced working with a toxicologist at Vanderbilt, is that Dr. McCleary?
Yes, ma'am.
And so the subsequent testing of blood and urine, were those results consistent with her receiving his medication in the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, the cause of death is acute cocaine toxicity, correct?
That's correct.
And there is no evidence that there was fentanyl in her system upon admission at the emergency department.
That's correct.
There was testimony by one of the defense experts that it was an assumption to say that Ms. Benning ingested something orally. Can you describe, you determined that it was ingested, that is oral ingestion. Can you explain how you were able to determine that and if it makes sense that it was not orally ingested?
When we look at one of the toxicology textbooks or toxicology books that I refer to rather regularly, and it gets updated on a regular basis with all new studies. The studies have shown kind of the average, or the ranges and the averages for the amounts of cocaine in cocaine intoxications that have been detected and tested, both in obviously controlled studies, you know how much they've taken and how much the amounts will be, but even in ones that have been treated in the hospital, whether they've died or not. And the levels that we see in Miss Benning's blood are pretty much in oral ingestions. So your nasal insufflation or snorting, your IV injections, you don't have this level in those sorts of cases. You really see it in the thousands like this when they've ingested it orally.
Which that's part of that oral ingestion is because that level is so high. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But also we have that vomit from the comforter that also tested positive for cocaine.
That's true.
And when EMTs see the pink vomit on her mouth, but they also find her face down with her face on the comforter and the vomit stain is under her mouth, that is part of the evidence that you considered in determining it was oral ingestion.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we also have a witness who testified that Ms. Benning said to Blaise Taylor, "What did you put in my drink? I knew my drink tasted funny." Yes, you considered that, is that right?
I did.
Dr. Lindsay also made a comment that you determined that the cocaine all spontaneously hydrolyzed in the tube. It was the clear cap tube without the preservative. Does that make sense to you? And can you explain kind of what happened with the clear cap tube and then it hydrolyzed? Is that something that is commonly seen?
Yes, so that's something we kind of talked about before, how typically when we draw blood at the time of autopsy, we want to put it in a gray top tube that has that sodium fluoride to stop those enzymes from breaking down the cocaine, because it can continue to break down even after the person is deceased while it's still sitting there in their body and while it's sitting in the tube if you don't have something to stop those enzymes. We had a clear top tube which didn't have that, so the blood continues to break down. I've seen this on many occasions with hospital blood samples with maybe a prolonged time after death before autopsy, and so that's why we want to look for that ethylene methyl ester. I found a study that was published back in the 90s, so this has been kind of a known thing for quite some time when you're looking at post-mortem levels of cocaine, that if you want an accurate estimate of the cocaine or accurate number of nanograms per milliliter of cocaine that's in the blood at the time of death, then you want to add the cocaine and the ethylene methyl ester together, because that was all parent cocaine initially.
And this is not something that just you know, but is that something that the other forensic pathologists at the medical examiner's office, that is just a normal practice of how you would estimate the parent cocaine?
Yes.
And Dr.
It sounds like she's trying. I'm trying to really understand what she's saying. I'm going to get it in a minute, but it sounds like she's trying to override the last doctor's testimony by basically saying, that her knowledge and people that she's used to working with, knowledge is more relevant, I guess, if you will, than the doctor that we just heard. Okay. She says, I wonder why the ambulance didn't administer her Norcaine when they arrived at the home. I think initially it's because they thought it was an allergic reaction and did not know it was drugs related. They thought she was just having an allergic reaction to something that she ate or drank.
Larry at Vanderbilt, y'all discussed that, and she in fact agreed with you. Is that correct?
I don't remember if we talked about the specific numbers after the fact. But we did talk a lot about the testing and what tests would be most appropriate to order and what we were worried about for her cause of death.
And Dr. Bergleri also was aware of the cocaine on the comforter, and he also spoke at length about if it was oral ingestion and the numbers and if everything lined up. And Dr. Bergleri was in agreement.
I think we did talk about that because we had a meeting with, several of us, and we discussed, aspects of the case.
Which there were several meetings where everybody was meeting to kind of discuss what the levels were and make sure that everybody was in agreement of kind of what happened and what the tests showed. During those meetings, it came up where it was the lawyers were asking, could you determine how much cocaine was ingested? And the result of that was all of the toxicologists saying no.
That's correct. So the problem is, I can't remember, I may have mentioned this before, when you buy medication at the store, it's tested. There's, quality standards. You know that when you buy that over-the-counter medication like ibuprofen or Tylenol, you know how much is in each pill because it's been standardized, it's been tested, it's passed, those sorts of testing. With your illicit drugs that you buy on the street, you don't have that kind of testing. You don't know how pure the drug is that you're buying, how much is in this particular packet of powder or liquid compared to another one. You don't even know for sure what's in it. They may tell you it's one thing and it's something else. So there's really no way to say exactly how much amount or how many times, something was given.
And part of the high number is that oral ingestion and the other evidence that it was put into a drink and it was liquefied and in a liquid. Is that right?
So liquids or something dissolved in a liquid is going to absorb more quickly than something that's encapsulated, where the acid in your stomach.
Exactly. So Sassy D said they are trying to omit the alcohol and fentanyl. Exactly. They are definitely trying to omit that because they don't want to seem like, they just wanted to focus only on cocaine, liquid cocaine. They don't want it to look like, oh, she was drinking and she added a little something to her drink, to make her feel away or anything like that. So they're definitely trying to eliminate everything except for just cocaine. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I did hear the testimony where they asked, well, if he could have slipped that in her drink, couldn't she have tasted? If it was so much, right, the amount that they're saying, more than they've ever seen out of 3,000 autopsies, I think she said, right? If it was that bad and it was supposed to be pink lemonade that they put it in, why she couldn't taste that? If it's that much drugs. And when I looked it up, it said that level of cocaine would burn your mouth. It would numb your mouth. It would burn your throat. That had to be a lot of damn cocaine. That's why I feel like it was something taken over time. However, I'm not a doctor or, no type of expertise in that field. So I don't know how it goes, but I'm believing that it had to be something taken over time or something in a pill form that she took that did a doozy on her.
Has to eat through a capsule or has to break down a solid mass of the drug. If it's liquid, it's really just going to spread out and it's going to absorb more quickly.
And you previously testified about the one other autopsy case that had a similar level of cocaine concentration in their blood, and it was someone that swallowed some type of cocaine rock, something in custody out of jail.
Okay, jury call. What's your question about that?
Well, Judge, I was restating her prior testimony so I could get to the question.
Okay, good.
You testified about that previously, and that has the same level as Jade's level in this case, similar.
Yes, it did.
And based on the facts of that case, it would not have been an inmate that would have ingested 16 to 8 balls.
I mean, it has to be something small. small enough that he has it on his person, he could swallow it quickly while in intake, and then of course it affected him rather quickly as well.
And liquid cocaine can be lethal even at a smaller dose. Is that correct?
Well, again, we don't know how much is in it, so, it could be very concentrated.
And so we would not be able to guess that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And also, specifically, cocaine, you've testified to this, has a connection to placental abruption.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is very commonly known, that it is the one substance that has a direct connection to that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Judge, part of this is reiterating your prior testimony.
Okay, so Bart, she's answered that. What's your next question?
Can you describe how Jane Benning arrived to Vanderbilt University Medical Center?
How she arrived,
Like, what was her state when she arrived in the ED?
she had no pulse. She was pulseless. She had no blood pressure. She was unresponsive and not breathing on her own. She relied on, medical therapy and other providers to basically do her breathing for her.
And if Dr. Olashoga testified that she arrived to the emergency department dead, would you disagree with that?
So Kibo said the fact that she texted her drug man, she should have been a reason why the case should have been thrown out. The judge even inserted himself in that and said that doesn't mean that she took the drugs that day. That doesn't mean that they met up just because she texted him and said, do you have proof that they met up? Do you have proof? Do you have any evidence that they actually met up? Well, if you don't have evidence that they met up, then you can't say that she met him that day. And the defense attorney said, well, I don't have any evidence that they didn't meet. And he says, well, if you don't have evidence that they met up, then you can't say that she met him. But at the same time, if they don't have evidence that he slipped something into her drink, then they should throw this whole damn case out on his ass, okay?
No.
They also had testimony from Dr. Larkin. She works in an emergency department. She's not a forensic pathologist. And she was testifying about snoring and agonal breathing. Can you describe when does agonal breathing occur? What are the circumstances?
So agonal breathing is that gasping for air type breathing that occurs when the brain is not getting enough oxygen.
And is there one thing that causes that or one circumstance that causes that?
No. So anything that's going to deprive your brain of oxygen, so that right around the time of death. So it could be drugs, it could be a natural event. It's not specific to any one thing or any one drug.
And that is consistent with Ms. Benning's case of that acute cocaine toxicity.
Yes, so the oxygen's not getting to her brain as needed, and so she's having that agonal breathing.
And the circumstances of the EMTs finding her face down in the bed with the pink vomit under her mouth, can you describe if that happened after the agonal breathing? Is that consistent?
So at that point, it sounds like she's face down in the comforter and she's vomiting and she's not conscious to be able to roll over and kind of protect her own airway so that she gets her face out of the comforter and out of the vomit so that she can breathe. So I would expect it would happen, around the same time or after the agonal breathing.
And would that be the same time that she would be going pulseless?
Yes.
There was also some testimony related to someone who has consistent drug use. Was there if someone is using drugs consistently on a daily basis, do you find signs of kind of physical indications of that at autopsy?
There are things that we can look for. If you have someone who's smoking a drug, they may have more of that kind of black deposition in the lungs from where they're a smoker. We can look for if they're snorting it and it's something like cocaine that's going to constrict the blood vessels and could cause damage to the tissues. We can look for any sort of holes or damage to the nasal septum, the little dividing thing where it divides the two sides of your nose. We can also look for if they're an injection, if they inject their drugs, look for needle marks, needle tracks, where they've injected repeatedly to the point where they scarred that vein, and they often have multiple needle puncture wounds over that as well.
So there are physical signs that can be seen at autopsy that indicate the manner of use.
Yes.
And specifically to Miss Benny's heart, there was testimony that the focal myocyte
Hypertrophy.
thank you, that was indicative of long-term cocaine use.
I mean, I see scattered myocyte hypertrophy in many cases that aren't related to cocaine, that it's more of a natural cause of death, so I don't think that's specific to cocaine.
And did you have any evidence whatsoever that Miss Benny was a cocaine user ever?
No.
So she asked her, "Do she have any evidence that she was a cocaine user? Was she ever a cocaine user?" And that doctor says no, that she didn't have any evidence. But didn't y'all just say cocaine leave your body quickly? What would be the evidence of a person that's a cocaine user? If they've used it and it got out of their system, like, how would you know? I don't know. I'm just sitting up here trying to think, like, how in the hell would you be able to? I don't know. I'm sure it has something to do. She said something about the lungs or something like that, because if she had cocaine in her body that day, how you know if she's never had it? I don't know. If she's never had it before, that's what I'm sitting up here trying to think. But anyway, let's continue.
Dr. Carney, your expert opinion on the cause of death is acute cocaine toxicity, not a fentanyl overdose, correct?
Correct.
So she got that doctor to say that she did not die from fentanyl, that she died from an acute cocaine use, meaning immediate. She just used cocaine, and that's what she died from, so much cocaine. Now, they're gonna cross. Are they gonna cross? Hold on, I think they're gonna cross. Yeah, but hold on before they cross, because I'm trying to get this fuzz out of this. I can't stand this loud fuzz, y'all. Hold on one second. She said, "I know this guy who touched fentanyl and they found him deceased." Damn, just for touching it? What the fuck? Child, don't scare me like that, child. Don't scare me like that. All drug users got to stay outside my house. Can't even come in. Can't even say hey. Don't say that. Hold on one second, y'all. All right, hold on one second. Give me a second. I don't know how long it's going to take. It shouldn't take that long. I just tried to take out all that fuzz. Give me a second, y'all. I'm going to try to take out the fuzz because I kind of want to hear what the defense had to say. She said hair follicles test. Oh, they could test the hair follicles and tell whether or not you have been using drugs. He was the dealer, not a user. Oh, the guy that died just from touching it. She said, yeah, you can die from just smelling it. Oh, shit. Damn. She said, and she took a Molly. The drug dealer could have easily capped it with just coke and fentanyl with no measurements. Did they ever test him for drug use? Yeah, they tested him. They tested, you talking about, did they test Blaise? I believe they test Blaise. Blaise didn't have drugs in his system. Matter of fact, the Najee said that he wasn't even drinking that night. Like he doesn't drink anyway, but said something to the fact that he didn't have a drink. Only she had a drink. But if he's trying to say that, hold on, let me airdrop this to myself. Let me airdrop this right quick, y'all. All right, let's take this one down and let's try to put up this one. Where is it at? Open. All right, let's see if we can hear better. I don't know. We'll see. Cause that damn noise getting on my nerves, y'all. Ooh. All right, here, let's see if we can hear better. All right, here we go.
They wanting to call Dr. Carney.
Can y'all hear it better now?
Yes, Doctor.
And what, do this so I can factor in while that's going on, the best thing for the jury and the parties, what is the state of some closing arguments time-wise?
I technically don't know the exact time. It would be at least 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes for my first close. If it goes longer, I pre-apologize.
Talking about total,
No, I was talking about for my first close.
so total, what do you think it would be?
All right, let's get to the defense. We heard the staticky and the state. Now let's get to the defense. Ah, damn, y'all. Hold on.
You're referring to, is correct?
That's correct.
And so
Okay, it's only a small portion of it that I didn't take out the noise. Y'all, sorry. Hold on.
and I'm sorry, did you have notes for that?
I did, but I don't see them here.
In that meeting, were you aware that Dr. Brugalari found that Ms. Benning did in fact have cocaine in her system?
No,
She didn't share that with you?
I don't recall seeing those records. No.
Are you familiar with the CFSRE records?
I am now, but I don't remember discussing this then.
And now that you have seen the CFSRE records, have you since learned that Ms. Benning did in fact have cocaine in her system?
I believe it was in the urine, and yes.
Thank you. You testified earlier in regards to toxicology report that was a result of the blood that you sent to NMS. And I think you said that you had a very limited amount of blood to test for. Is that right?
That's correct.
And the reason you had a very limited amount, it wasn't because you didn't request enough, it was because you wanted the most accurate picture of what was going on with Miss Benning at the time she entered the hospital.
That's correct. We want the earliest blood sample if possible.
And the earliest blood sample, to be fair, was retrieved for medical purposes, not forensic purposes, correct?
That's correct.
And so that's why it didn't have the gray topper on top.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God.
And when you ordered those tests, on that blood for which
Oh my God, that sounds so much better, doesn't it? Oh my God, y'all. But y'all have no idea what I have to do to get this through. Anyway, let's just play.
you relied on for your results in your autopsy, you did not order the fentanyl test, correct?
Correct. I ordered the designer opioids, it's kind of specialty fentanyl test.
Right. But it's not fentanyl, correct?
Correct.
And so if fentanyl was present, we wouldn't have known because you didn't order that test. Is that right?
Yes, I didn't order that test because it was not in the urine. So if it's not in the urine along with the cocaine, there was no reason to waste blood testing for something that's not there.
But to be fair, nothing
So that doctor didn't even test for the fentanyl. Didn't even test because she said it wasn't in the urine.
was in the urine. Isn't that true?
No, that's not true. There was cocaine in the urine.
Which urine are you referring to?
The very first one.
The one for 225 and 2259?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, your blood sample was 225 and 2231, which was before the urine.
Yes, so cocaine was in both.
Okay, but you said you were relying on the urine.
Right, to help direct my testing because I didn't have a lot of blood. So I needed to direct my testing to things that I was concerned about. So the fentanyl had been ruled out in the urine and the cocaine was ruled in, but I wasn't sure that anyone had tested for the designer fentanyl. So that's why I tested for those.
So but just so that the jury is clear, fentanyl itself would not have shown up.
Not in this particular test.
Not
No.
in the blood. Okay, just to be clear. Now, what test was that the fentanyl showed up in and 22, that did not show up? Is that 2259?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
have a toxicology report number for that?
I don't have it here. I believe that was the CSFRE. That was the earliest urine that was tested.
Which test result is that?
That was on the 2259 urine. The CSFRE where they did the testing for the over 1,000 drugs.
Okay, I mean, what's the test number so that I can look at it?
I don't have that one here. I don't have that number right here.
Okay. In regards to the vomit, the vomit was before the blood and the urine, correct?
Correct.
Were you aware that fentanyl showed up in the vomit?
No, the findings it says for case sample was positive for cocaine and benzoylecgonine.
Did you learn later, if I could have the elbow, please? Just so that we're oriented, the 231, 29, 285,
Yes.
which is for the comforter. You see that?
Yes.
Fentanyl.
And you see here with the 231, 29, 285, that fentanyl is in fact present in the vomit. Did you know that?
The interpretation, sorry.
Okay, she's gonna explain.
Well, the interpretation here says the case sample 007, which is the fabric in the area with the visible stains, was also none detected for the presence of fentanyl.
Did you know that the reason that NMS may not indicate a positive is because it will be below the reportable limit,
Yes.
not necessarily because there's no indication of it. Are you aware of that?
Yes. I've never been told that there was ever any fentanyl in it.
And to be fair, did you know that these records are part of what we call a litigation packet?
I did not know that.
And when you get your toxicology report results, they don't come with a litigation packet.
Correct.
Right. You have to request and pay for those.
Okay.
Are you familiar with pharmacokinetics?
Some.
Are you able to perform the pharmacokinetics calculations?
No.
That's for a forensic toxicologist, right?
Right.
Okay. And were you aware that Dr. Kotulski did not agree with your method of combining EME with cocaine to get a definitive measure of concentration level?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is misstating the witness
Okay,
testimony.
the jury's heard that. What do you want to reference about prior testimony without you determining whether it's correct or not?
No, Your Honor, I checked. It is.
See, there you go again. It's not up to you to check. These ladies and gentlemen of the jury are going to check it.
Y'all hear him? There you go again. It's not up for you to check. He's talking to the defense attorney that way.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
what is your question?
In regards to your testing to get an accurate picture of exactly what was going on as it relates to substances, a hair follicle test would be a good way to actually get a good picture of what type of drugs and or substances in someone's body. Would you agree?
Well, the problem with that, sometimes if you're worried about levels, is there's not a lot of studies or samples or experiences you can compare to with hair. They draw blood in the hair, sure, and show if there's any drugs there.
It wouldn't show?
Yeah, it would show if there were any drugs there, yeah.
Thank you. As it relates to I know I'm gonna mess this up, the focal myocyte
Hypertrophy.
hypertrophy. Thank you. Miss Benning was a young woman, correct?
Yes,
And otherwise a very healthy young woman, correct?
correct.
Now, we're certainly not saying that the only reason that she would have an enlarged ventricle is because of cocaine use. Not saying that, but it is certainly a possibility, is it not?
I mean, something that will increase your blood pressure would cause your heart cells to work harder. So you could say myocyte hypertrophy goes with things like that. So that could be a lot of different things. Cocaine is one of many on the list.
What other things would be on the list?
I mean, any sort of stimulant or, even, who knows, anxiety or genetic problems or whatever.
When you say stimulant, what is a stimulant?
Well, like fentanyl, methamphetamine, something that drives the blood pressure up.
When you were determining and making the decision as to what to test for, I think you said that you had done some research into Miss Benning, and with the cocaine, that was significant enough for you to stop there, right?
Well, it's not so much that it's stopped there, but we really want to, and this is the case because, like I said, the blood sample is limited. We want to kind of focus in on the things that we want to confirm, because otherwise, if you test for everything, you're going to run out of blood. You're not going to be able to confirm anything. So in this case, we already knew that she was positive for cocaine, and we wanted to get a number. Like I thought I wanted a number that I could recognize. And then that was really the only positive test that she had.
When you were making your decisions, weren't you not making your decisions under the impression that she had no history of drug use?
I mean, whether she had a history of drug use or not, you need to look at what are your positive tests. And then you can think about the history when you're looking at the interpretation of those results.
But weren't you told she had no history of drug use?
I was told that the only drug history she had was making some marijuana edibles in the past, and that had stopped when she found out she was pregnant. So no recent drug history.
Do you remember taking or giving a testimony previously in regards to Ms. Benning?
Yes.
And do you remember when you gave that testimony, I believe you stated that she does not have a history of drug use. She did not appear to want to take anything that would harm her child or herself.
Right, so knowing with her pregnancy, she stopped even with marijuana edibles, and there was no reason to believe she had taken any drugs as of late.
But she did have a history of drug use, didn't she?
We talked about that. So you even showed me the transcript, and we talked about how I said she didn't have specifically like the cocaine, that sort of illicit drug use, that the only drug use I was aware of was the marijuana edibles.
Well, I'm looking at the transcript here, it doesn't say that. It just says no history of drug use.
Okay, but we talked about it on my direct, or my, cross the first time to clarify this.
And
So she did have a history of drug use, but she claims she stopped because she really wanted the pregnancy. But who would really know that? Oh shit, I can't stand when it does this. Come on. Don't do this to
And
me.
if you say that she did not appear to want to take anything that would want to harm herself or her child, how do you explain cocaethylene in her system?
Exactly.
I don't know how the cocaine was delivered to her, if it was absorbed in some sort of alcohol. I do not know how that was done or where the alcohol came from.
Would Ms. Benning
So they don't want to make it seem like she was drinking alcohol. They want to seem like she was just administered the drugs. But she doesn't, she had coethylene, which is cocaine and alcohol mixed together, I'm assuming. And this doctor does not want to say that she was drinking while pregnant.
Not be able to taste cocaine and alcohol if she was given it unknowingly?
I don't know how much alcohol.
Now let's listen to that again. Would she not have been able to taste it?
That she had no history of drug use.
I mean, whether she had a history of drug use or not, you need to look at what are your positive tests. And then you can think about the history when you're looking at the interpretation of those results.
But weren't you told she had no history of drug use?
I was told that the only drug history she had was making some marijuana edibles in the past, and that had stopped when she found out she was pregnant. So no recent drug history.
Do you remember taking or giving a testimony previously in regards to Ms. Bennett? And do you remember when you gave that testimony, I believe you stated that she does not have a history of drug use. She did not appear to want to take anything that would harm her child or her son.
Right, so knowing with her pregnancy, she stopped even with the marijuana edibles, and there was no reason to believe she had taken any drugs as of late.
But she did have a history of drug use, didn't she?
We talked about that. So you even showed me the transcript, and we talked about how I said she didn't have specifically like the cocaine, that sort of illicit drug use, that the only drug use I was aware of was the marijuana edibles.
Well, I'm looking at the transcript here, it doesn't say that. It just says no history of drug use.
Okay, but we talked about it on my direct, or my, cross the first time to clarify this.
And if you say that she did not appear to want to take anything that would want to harm herself or her child, how do you explain cocaine in her system?
I don't know how the cocaine was delivered to her, if it was absorbed in some sort of alcohol. I do not know how that was done or where that alcohol came from.
Would Ms. Benning not be able to taste cocaine and alcohol if she was given it unknowingly?
I don't know how much alcohol it might be, and I don't know anything about cocaine taste, so I can't help you with that.
Fair enough. And certainly before you came to any of your conclusions, you had met with law enforcement and the prosecution, correct?
So I met with law enforcement because I rely on law enforcement and their investigation when I'm determining manner of death. So it's very important that I know the circumstances of the case.
Meaning that she met with law enforcement, so she already knew how to testify. She already knew what to formulate in her findings. You know what I mean?
And that is where you learned she had no history of drug use, right?
The history that we discussed, yes.
Thank you, Ernest.
Any other questions?
Just to clarify, Dr. Carney, you're
So the defense just got her to admit that how she learned that she, about her drug use or lack of was from the detectives. They told her that she wasn't a drug user or she had stopped because of, the pregnancy and whatnot. Let me go back to that. Let me just make sure that's what I just heard.
Prosecution, correct? You gave that testimony, I believe you stated that she does not have a history of drug use. She did not appear to want to take anything that would harm her child or her son.
Right, so knowing with her pregnancy, she stopped even with the marijuana edibles, and there was no reason to believe she had taken any drugs as of late.
But she did have a history of drug use, didn't she?
We talked about that. So you even showed me the transcript, and we talked about how I said she didn't have specifically like the cocaine, that sort of illicit drug use, that the only drug use I was aware of was the marijuana edibles.
Well, I'm looking at the transcript here, it doesn't say that. It just says no history of drug use.
Okay, but we talked about it on my direct, or my, cross the first time to clarify this.
And if you say that she did not appear to want to take anything that would want to harm herself or her child, how do you explain cocaine in her system?
I don't know how the cocaine was delivered to her, if it was absorbed in some sort of alcohol. I do not know how that was done or where that alcohol came from.
Would Ms. Benning not be able to taste cocaine and alcohol if she was given it unknowingly?
I don't know how much alcohol it might be, and I don't know anything about cocaine taste, so I can't help you with that.
Fair enough. And certainly when you, or before you came to any of your conclusions, you had met with law enforcement and the prosecution, correct?
So I met with law enforcement because I rely on law enforcement and their investigation when I'm determining manner of death. So it's very important that I know the circumstances of the case.
And that is where you learned she had no history of drug use, right?
The history that we've discussed, yes.
Thank you, Ernest.
Yeah, so law
Any other
enforcement,
questions?
Just to clarify,
law enforcement is the one that told her that she did not have prior drug use problems or drug use issues.
Dr. Carney, your cause of death was not based on the meetings with anyone. It was just the manner of death. Is that right?
Correct. So the cause of death is something I'll determine through the autopsy and the toxicology and the histology, the looking at the slides, all the work that I do on my end. I really refer to the investigation for manner of death.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the end of that one. So we just looked at two of the, that's the DA's doctor and, doctor. And then we looked at the states. No, I'm sorry. The state, and this is the state, which is the same as the DA. And we listened to the defense doctor that they recalled today. So we just listened to two doctors saying completely two different things, okay? She's kind of saying that there was nothing else that found in her system except for the cocaine. You know, it wasn't fentanyl. Then she came back and said that, well, they didn't test for fentanyl because it didn't appear in her urine, so they didn't send anything out to test. So they're saying two different things, and it's because they were hired by two different sides. That's why. So I don't know if y'all know that, but some of these doctors are hired to give their expertise testimony from the state or the defense. They hire them to give their testimonies, you know? She said, and the police got that from Jade. Exactly. They got that from Jade. And we know that Jade was already, you know, still doing drugs or whatnot with her friend. Okay, with her friend. She said weed, mushroom, Adderall, cocaine, and alcohol, but she didn't know she was a drug addict. Exactly, Super Leo lady. That's crazy, right? She said just because she said she stopped doesn't mean it. Exactly. You could be like, I've stopped eating bread, you know, and when somebody turn their head, you can eat you a slice of bread, right? She said, you going out, in and out. Oh, I was going in and out? Oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. So it was bad? She said, wait, so through the testing, she should have been able to see if she had some history of drug abuse. No one should have to tell her. Yeah, you would think that she shouldn't have to rely on law enforcement, but, you know, I mean, through her own text messages and things of that nature tells us different, right? She was actually in contact with her drug dealer that day of the incident. She was in contact with her drug dealer. Like, come on. How can you really say that she, you know, she stopped because of her pregnancy? Yeah, I don't believe that. She said, I left and came back in and it was better. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's crazy, y'all. She said that's hearsay because she wasn't there to. Exactly. And I can't believe she said she actually got that from the detectives. Like, what do they know? She had her looking crazy. Yep. She looks like she's saying help. Oh, you talking about something different. I just went back up. She said, and if she was stressed out, Blaise and him not wanting the baby, she probably could have still been using. Yep, that's true. That's true. Defense showed fentanyl was present prior to urine and blood work. That's a big deal. Yeah, so they definitely want to the prosecutor want to try to discount fentanyl, but I don't see how they're able to. Hold on, let me do something right quick. I'm going to do an analysis on that last part and then we're going to hop off because I don't want this to be no long live. And then I'm just going to spend the rest of the evening listening to other parts of the trial. Give me a second, though. Give me a second. Oh. Give me a second. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. All right, hold on. This judge is woo, baby. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is what happened in what we just watched, right? It says the witness was Dr. Carney, and the state brought her back up to clean up and strengthen the state's theory before closing. The state goal was to shut down the defense theory that Jade may have died from fentanyl or some kind of voluntary drug use or overdose, and to reinforce that the cause of death was acute cocaine toxicity. Dr. Carney said she had no evidence that Jade had fentanyl in her system before arriving at the emergency room, and she pointed to the urine testing, the blood testing, design opioids testing, and fatal liver testing, all being negative for fentanyl-related substances. The biggest point for the state was this. Dr. Carney testified that Jade's cocaine level was so high that it fit oral ingestion, not snorting and not injection. She said those routes usually do not create the type of thousands levels seen here. The state also tied that to the physical evidence, cocaine positive vomit on the comforter. Jade was found face down with pink vomit under her mouth, and the alleged statement to her friend, Najee, "What did you put in my drink? I knew my drink tastes funny." Dr. Carney said she considered those facts informing her own opinion. Now, what was the state's strongest points? The state's best moments was when Dr. Carney clearly repeated that the cause of death was acute cocaine toxicity, not a fentanyl overdose. That is very clean testimony for a jury. Another strong state point was that Dr. Carney explained why fentanyl was not her focus. The early urine was positive for cocaine and negative for fentanyl. So with limited blood available, she direct testing toward what was already showing up and what needed confirmation. The state also got helpful testimony that agonal breathing is not specific to fentanyl. The defense apparently tried to make Jade breathing sound like fentanyl, but Dr. Carney said agonal breathing can happen with drugs, natural events, or anything that derives from the brain of oxygen. That helped the state because it undercut the idea that Jade breathing pattern automatically meant fentanyl. Now let's go to the defense point. Their strongest point. The defense did have some good things, some good hits. The best defense points was that Dr. Carney admitted she did not order a direct fentanyl test on the blood sample that she relied on. She ordered designer opiate testing, but not fentanyl itself. When defense asked whether fentanyl would have shown up in the blood test, she agreed it would not have shown up in that particular blood test. That gives the defense something to argue. How can you completely rule out fentanyl if you did not test that key blood sample for fentanyl itself. The defense also pressed her on whether a negative lab result always means nothing is there. Dr. Carney agreed that some things may be below the reportable limits, meaning not reported as positive, even though some trace could exist. That was another helpful defense point because it creates doubt around the word negative. The defense hardest hit came near the end. Dr. Carney admitted she cannot say how the cocaine was delivered to Jade. She said she did not know whether it was absorbed in alcohol or how it was done or where any alcohol came from. That matters because the state theory depends on the idea that someone put cocaine in Jade's drink. Dr. Carney can support oral ingestion, but she cannot personally prove who gave it to her or exactly how it was administered. The defense also got her to admit that part of her understanding about Jade having no recent drug history came from law enforcement and the prosecutor's meeting prior to her analysis. She clarified that the investigation helped with matters of death, not cause of death, but the defense still exposed that some of her background assumptions about Jade came from the police and the prosecution sources. So who won this argument? Overall, the state won this round, but the defense landed a few useful punches as well. The state won because Dr. Carney stayed firm on the most important medical opinion. The cause of death was acute cocaine toxicity, not a fentanyl overdose. The cocaine level points to oral ingestions. Those are the big ticket issues, and she did not back away from them. But the defense did not completely lose. They created some reasonable doubt in the argument points for closing. The key blood sample was not directly tested for fentanyl itself. Negative can sometimes means below the reportable limits, not absolute zero, meaning that it's not that nothing was in her system, it was just below the reportable limits. Also, Dr. Carney cannot say exactly how the cocaine got into Jade. That's big for the defense because the prosecutor is saying it had to come from Blaise, that Jade would not have done it on her own, but Dr. Carney came back and said she don't know how the cocaine got into Jade. And another reasonable arguments for the defense is that her no recent drug history information came partly from the police and the prosecutor's investigation. Now, let's talk about how this helps the state. The testimony helps the state because it gives them a simple storyline for the jury. Jade did not die from fentanyl. She died from a massive amount of cocaine. The level fits oral ingestion. There was cocaine in her vomit that was on the comforter. She allegedly said her drink tastes funny while on the phone with Jade's friend Jackson. Therefore, the state can argue the cocaine was put into something that she drank. That is powerful because it connects the science to the alleged statement about the drink. How this helps Blaise Taylor on the defense side. This testimony today helped Blaise only in limited ways. The defense can argue that the state expert is confident about the cause, but not as strong on the delivery method or the identity of the person responsible. The defense can say, even if cocaine did kill her, Dr. Carney can't tell you who gave it to her, how it got there, or whether she tasted it, or whether every possible drug was fully tested in the key blood sample. That is the defense lane, not necessarily proving a different cause of death, but creating doubt about the state's certainty. Who the hell gave her the drugs? So the state came out stronger today because their expert helped their main line. Jade died from acute cocaine toxicity, and the level points to oral ingestion. But the defense did enough to give themselves closing arguments material, especially around the lack of direct fentanyl testing of the blood, the limits of negative results, and the fact that Dr. Carney herself said She cannot tell you exactly how Jade got the cocaine inside of her. So the scores, the state was 7.5 out of 10, and the defense in the rear at 5.5 out of 10. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? What y'all think? She said Jade wanted Blaise and used the baby to try to keep him. You think so? She said, Amora, Dr. Lindsay was able to prove fentanyl was present on the comforter per the test or test results and said her symptoms were more in line with fentanyl exposure. Let's go back to that one right quick. I'm glad you brought that up. Hold on one second. Let's go back to that one. Let's go back to that one. Hold on one second. All right, hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Let's I'm gonna do analysis on the one with Dr. With the Dr. Lindsay, the defense toxicology doctor or expert, same thing. And let's see what we can gather from that. Give me a second. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. We're going to do that one as well. Now, this one right here, it says this one was stronger for the defense, but it got a little messy on cross-examination. This was the defense calling Dr. Lindsay. Let's put this down right quick and let's just go over this. Oh, crap. I don't have a photo up. Let's put a photo up right quick. And then we're going to go over this one, okay? Where are my photos? Here we go. All right, let's put that one up. All right, it says, this was the defense calling Dr. Lindsay, their toxicology expert, to challenge the state's clean story that Jade simply ingests liquid cocaine from a drink. Now, first, there was a court argument before the jury came in about whether the defense could introduce text messages, cards suggesting Jade may have had another romantic relationship. Oh, we went to that one. All right, let's go down a little bit because we've already talked about her and the text messages of having another boo thing, okay? So let's go back to Dr. Lindsay. All right, here we go. Dr. Lindsay, hold on. Oh, yeah, okay. Let me go back up. All right, it says the defense called Dr. Lindsay a toxicology expert. She testified that she reviewed toxicology package, detective investigation, EMS reports, medical records, autopsy material, and literature on cocaine and fentanyl. The defense's whole goal was to say the state is acting too certain. The science is not that clean. The blood sample had problems. Fentanyl showed up in the comforter data. Alcohol, cocaine matters. And nobody can truly calculate how much cocaine Jade had or when or how she took it. So the defense had some real wins here. The biggest one was Dr. Lindsay testifying that the comforter and the vomit on the comforter testing showed fentanyl, cocaine, benzyglycol, whatever, and coathaline. Coathaline matters because it forms when cocaine and alcohol are used together. That helps the defense because the state's theory was focused heavily on cocaine in a drink. But Dr. Lindsay is saying the toxicology pictures includes fentanyl and alcohol-related markers too. Another strong point, she said the lab test on the comforter was basically new and not fully comparable to normal blood urine testing. She said they could identify substance, but the numbers were not truly reliable as firm quantities because there were no real comparison matrix. That hurts the state because the comforter vomit is one of the state's physical evidence anchors. She also testified that fentanyl was found not only in the vomited area, but also in the case blank, meaning the supposedly clean part of the comforter. Her explanation was that this complicates things because it could mean contamination or prior fentanyl presence on the comforter. So basically what she's saying that fentanyl was found not only on the area in which Jade threw up on, it was found on the clean area, a part where her mouth, where, the vomit was not out of her mouth, which she's saying it could have come from contamination, meaning that somebody else put it there, or prior fentanyl presence on the comforter, meaning that she didn't took fentanyl before and then jumped her ass in her bed, okay? Now, that is important because it gives the defense a way to say you cannot cleanly say everything on that comforter came from Jade's vomit. The defense also scored with the blood tube issue. Dr. Lindsay said that the hospital blood sample was collected in the wrong type of tube for preserving cocaine because it did not have a sodium fluoride, which matters because cocaine degrades quickly. That is one of the defense's best scientific attacks. They are saying the state blood numbers is not as reliable as the state want the jury to believe. Another strong point, Dr. Lindsay disagreed with Dr. Kearney's method of adding cocaine plus EM to get a total number. She said you would not do that because the substance have different molars, rations, and half-lives. So it is not an apple-to-apple comparison. That directly attacks Miss Blondie, the state's high cocaine level argument. Now, the biggest defense theory, Dr. Lindsay, major theory was that cocaine numbers do not make sense if you try to calculate backwards using normal pharmacokinetics. She said if you try to explain later cocaine levels by normal cocaine half-life alone, Jade would have needed an impossible amount, what she called an elephant's worth or multiple 8 balls. Her explanation was that cocaine and fentanyl together may interfere with each other's clearance, making both substances hang around longer and become more toxic at lower levels. That is a major defense argument because it gives them a way to say, this was not necessarily some massive amount of cocaine secretly poured into a drink. The interactions between cocaine and fentanyl could have changed how the drug behaved in her body. Now, the state's strongest cross-examination point, the state did hurt Dr. Lindsay in a few places. First, the state got her to agree that the methamphetamine and marijuana reference were not valid and could have been false positive. She agreed. Multiple other tests did not come back positive for methamphetamine or marijuana. That helps the state because it made some of the defense other substance discussion look like noise. Second, the state pressed her hard on the fact that she kept saying, "We don't know. We don't know." Dr. Lindsay would not say that the cocaine was definitely orally ingested. She said it could have been liquid oral, but it could have been another route as well. That cuts both ways. It helps the defense create doubt, but it also lets the state say their expert cannot tell you what happened either. The state best moment was when they pinned her down on her own calculation. She admitted that when she tried to do her pharmacokinetic calculation, she assumed oral bioavailability, meaning oral ingestions, but then also testified that you cannot calculate pharmacokinetics in this case. That was probably the state's strongest attack on her credibility. It makes her look like she is saying, I calculated it, but also you cannot calculate it. The state also got her to admit oral cocaine can be lethal and that cocaine can cause placental abruption, spontaneous abortion in a pregnancy. That helped the state bring the jury back to the simple point: cocaine can kill and cocaine can harm a pregnancy. The defense redirect helped clean it up, though. The defense recovered some ground on redirect. They brought the jury back to the lab data and got Dr. Lindsley to say there was a peak presence for cocalenthylene in the vomit on the comforter, even if it was below the reportable limit. Then they did the same with fentanyl. Dr. Lindsay said that the fentanyl peak presented fentanyl being present in the vomit on the comforter and that it was based on NMS lab data, not just her own personal opinion. That was a good finish for the defense because it reminded the jury this is not just our expert making up things. The lab data had these peaks. So who won this one? The defense won the direct examination, but the state won parts on cross. Overall, this round goes to the defense by a narrow margin because Dr. Lindsay gave them exactly what they needed: doubt, and more doubt. She did not prove an alternate story perfectly, but she did poke holes in the state's certainty. So out of a score for this one would be defense got 8 out of 10. The state got 6.5 out of 10. And then the defense on redirect, they got 7.5 out of 10. So overall, defense wins with 7 out of 10. Now, how does this help Blaise? This helped Blaise because it gives the defense closing argument material. The states want you to believe that this was clear-cut liquid cocaine in Jay's drink, but their own testing had problems. The blood was in the wrong tube. The comforter test had no reliable concentration. Fentanyl showed up. Coethylene showed up. The expert could not calculate a reliable dose, and nobody can say exactly who or how or by what route did Jade get exposed to cocaine. So, however, why it still helps the state some. The state still has ammunition because Dr. Lindsay did not give the jury a clean alternate answer. She repeatedly said, "We don't know." She also admitted cocaine can be lethal and can cause pregnancy complication. And when the state pushed her, she admitted her own calculation assumed oral ingestions at one point. So the state can argue the defense expert is not giving you answers. She's giving you possibilities. Now, the testimony was the defense trying to shake the foundation of the state toxicology case. Dr. Lindsay did not necessarily prove Jade voluntarily used the drugs or that fentanyl was true cause of the death, but she did make the state's theory looks less clean. The state wants the jury to believe Jade died from cocaine. It was orally ingested and it was likely in a drink. The defense want the jury to believe the science is messy. The testing had problems. Fentanyl and alcohol markers were present, and the state cannot prove exactly how the cocaine got there. So again, the defense won on doubt argument. State still has the clearer storyline, but the witness helped Blaise more than she hurt him. All right, y'all. She said the mystery is crazy. It is. It is crazy, baby. It is crazy. You hear me? Crazy, crazy, crazy. But it is good. So what say you? What say you? So far, we are on day 7. Who do you think is winning their argument? If you was on the jury, guilty or not guilty? If you are on the jury, guilty or not guilty? What say you? What say you? Guilty or not guilty? Latricia says not guilty. Anybody else want to take a stab at it? I got 2 not guilty. Lisa says not guilty. Tamara and Sassy says not guilty. Do anybody think that the state has proven that he is the one that administered Jade this liquid cocaine? I want to see what liquid cocaine look like, y'all. Y'all think if I look this up, I might get in trouble? What does liquid cocaine look like? I hope I don't get in no damn trouble. Let me see. Well, what does it look like? It looks blue. Is it blue? Oh, it's all kind of colors. How the hell they do that then? How you make it liquid? Shit, I just looked it up on the image, honey. It look all type of colors. I see pink. I see red. I see blue. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my, it's a liquid cocaine shots. What the hell? You can take a shot of liquid cocaine. I am done, y'all. Oh my God. Anyway, child, I don't want none of that. Ooh, baby. Child, She said the other thing they have proven is that the need to wear a condom because he is not ready to be a father. You know what? That dude probably can't get up right now for nothing in the world. Hell, he going before a damn jury, fighting for his life. I'm sure he ain't thinking about none of that. I think the state and the judge is trying hard to trip him up and charge him. You mean convict him? Yeah, I absolutely think that, well, of course we know the prosecutor. I mean, that's her job though. You know what I'm saying? She definitely wants him on a civil platter. And I think the judge is trying to help deliver him on a civil platter. Yeah, I do. I absolutely think the judge is definitely pro-state in this case. She said, what? That must be a name of a drink or something, LOL. Girl, she said, I'm here late, but we'll watch the replay. Hey, more in chat. Hey, slap your mammy. Hey, girly. I think to stay in the judge. Oh, I read that one. Not guilty, but I don't want to get my hopes up. Girl, we're going to find out real soon. Now, are y'all going to be available tomorrow to check this case out? She said, let that man go. Robbie said, let that man go. Let that man go. Well, anyway, I don't want to make this too long. We already been in 2 hours. I'm going to go back and try to clean up a little bit of the pauses and stuff or whatever. So y'all make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button. Did we meet our goal? I don't know if we met our goal. Let me go look. I want to play goal met on one of our lives. Hold on. Let me hit refresh. Ooh, child. We just a little off. That's all. We just a little off. Maybe tomorrow. We always have tomorrow, right? So let me just read some of the super chats. Thank you, Cheryl, so very much. She said yelling at that woman. Yeah, the state attorney was definitely yelling at that woman. Thank you, Cheryl, darling. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, The Real MF. Thank you, Georgiana. Thank you, Joanne. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cheryl, again. Thank you, Big Sis Glenn. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Sassy D. They keep trying to omit the alcohol and fentanyl. Exactly. Thank you, Super Leo. Thank you, Renee Hill. Been in the bushes a long time. I enjoy it here. Thank you, girl. Appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Pam, Hayamore, and Loud Talkers. And thank you, Tanya. She said, keep elevating. I love the lives per usual. Oh, thank you so very much. I do appreciate you ladies so very much. Y'all hit that thumbs up button on the way out. Let me see what my thumbs up look like. Okay, they look appropriate, you know, for how many people we have in here. Thank y'all so much. Tina said, not guilty. She said, say per the state in the trial, what does liquid cocaine look like? Oh, they know I'm doing this thing. I wanted to see what it looked like. She said, you have another live schedule or on your other page. Oh, I do? Oh, you know what? Let me change that. I think I do. Yeah, let me change that. Okay. All right, but I'll talk to y'all later. I love y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye now.
Because they can't make $1 without mentioning down one of our names.
She kept talking about that family.
Hoes over there.
She kept talking about that family. 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 That family. She kept talking about that family. Talking about that family.
These motherfuckers don't be wanting to listen to me about. Because they can't make $1 without mentioning down one of our